Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rangers Ready Go. This week's episode is another review of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel episode 12, Fan Frenzy. Um, Judging by the name Fan Frenzy, you can kind of tell that this story is about Levi, the Gold Ranger, because he's a musician, I guess. And before I go on, I just want to let you know the hoodie. Yeah, it's a lot colder today than it's been in quite a while. It literally like 2 days ago it was like 85 degrees, and now all of a sudden it's like 55 degrees. So yeah, tad chilly, but what you gonna do about it? Anyway, this episode was actually better than last week's episode. Last week's episode was a Valentine's Day episode because, September, it's time for Valentine's Day. Okay. Anyway, last week's episode was lackluster. Not a lot of action, a whole lot of talk, and a whole lot of sap. So this week, a little bit better off because it had more action, somewhat of a better monster. Couldn't really tell. Again, all the monsters that we see in Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel, or just Power Rangers Ninja Steel in general, obviously they're the same monsters that were in Shuriken Sentai Ninja, and I've voiced plenty of times before in the past in these episodes that the monsters were obviously done much better in the Japanese version, Shuriken Sentai Ninja. Because the monsters in this series of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel, just Ninja Steel in general, the monsters, they're giving them the most ridiculous personalities. That's like to have the minds of a 5-year-old that are pretending to be monsters on Halloween instead of opposed to actually being threatening space alien monsters like they should be. Anyway, this episode opens at the high school, of course, because 30-year-olds going to high school. It's an important thing, so they have to show that in every episode. The Power Rangers playing pool, because again they're in high school. For Lord forbid they should actually be in a class. No, they're always either eating or just sitting around a table talking to each other or playing pool. So as they're playing pool, it centers on Levi Weston, obviously the Gold Ranger. The episode's pretty much about him. Makes a nice little, I guess you could call it a bank shot. I'm not huge with pool. I can play a little bit, but I'm not huge. And then all of a sudden, a casting agent comes into the school, walks right up to Levi, of course recognizing him as apparently a world famous musician that still goes to high school, and people can just walk up to him and approach him. It's a little strange. But anyway, she walks up and offers him a job to be the face of their Double Danger chili burgers. I know there was one of the first episodes that featured Levi Weston in Power Rangers Ninja Steel had him eating a chili burger. And yes, I realize that in Shuriken Sentai Ninja, his actual henshin device, his morpher, is a burger. I'll get to more of that here in a second. He obviously turns down the audition because he's just trying to focus on schoolwork, as most 30-year-olds do. And instead, she is forced to find an alternative face for her Double Danger chili burger commercial. You know where I'm going with this, right? You know who she finds? Cut to the ass clowns, Victor and Monty. Of course. Not to save the day, but to ruin it. Of course, she finds him, and he's doing what else but sitting on one of the benches outside of the school eating a burger. Looking like he's really, really enjoying the burger, too. So she comes up, gives him her card, and before she even says anything, he says, yes, I'll do it. Because, any chance he has to be famous or to win an award or a trophy or anything like that, he'll take it. Cut to the Galaxy Warriors ship, where for some reason the one monster that doesn't belong in the series is a werewolf. Cosmo is a werewolf, and this is obviously just to introduce the episode's monster, which is also a werewolf, or just like a werewolf style monster. Dreadwolf is his name, and this monster was actually done much better in Shuriken Sentai Ninja. The monster actually had somewhat of a story that was a little bit more flushed, as it is with pretty much all the monsters in Power Rangers Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel. They're not flushing out these villains. They're just saying, hey, here's your ranger fodder for the day. That's it. It's so lazy. It's so lazy. Anyway, you find out that Dreadwolf has the ability to turn people into werewolves by throwing these magical claws at them. So his plan, obviously, is to turn the Rangers into werewolves. Specifically, he aims for Levi, the Gold Ranger. I don't know why he's so fixated on the Gold Ranger to be a werewolf. He could have thrown his claws at any of the Rangers and probably have hit, but of course didn't. Anyway, cut back to Calvin, the Yellow Ranger, is taking Mick on a trip to the hardware store because I guess because of course Mick is their he's their workshop teacher at the high school, so he needs workshop supplies, I guess, which the school isn't supplying again, which is weird. And he drops him off the hardware store and notices that there is a buzz cam in the city. He calls the other Rangers to him. And literally as soon as that happens, the monster attacks. And a nice little ground foot battle ensues, mainly with the Gold Ranger taking on Dreadwolf, while the rest of the Rangers handle the Kudobots, whatever they're calling this rendition of the foot soldiers. And proceeds to try to turn Levi into a werewolf. Instead, misses and hits Mick. Mick turns into a werewolf for a short time. Yeah, I know it's a little bit silly, but believe it or not, I actually thought that the makeup and the effects for the werewolves were actually not bad. Very, very reminiscent of, say, Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. If you've ever seen that, the makeup and the prosthetics of the teeth, the way the fur the fur and the hair looked, it looked a lot like Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox from way back in the 80s when I was just a wee lad. So that wasn't too bad. However, like I said, Mick gets hit. They don't know what's wrong with him at first, and then they find out that it's a claw stuck in the back of his head. Wow. Haley just grabs a hold of it and yanks it out. And he turns back to normal. In a really weird spastic seizure of a moment, he turns back to normal. It was really weird. Special effect on how they did that. I'm not going to complain too much about it. Again, it was still better special effects than some of the stuff that we've seen so far. Anyway, there's a subplot in this where, getting to the whole title of the episode, Fan Frenzy, there is I guess a new student. I don't know how many new students this school is going to get, but his name is Chaz. Chaz. Great name. Not. He's obviously Levi's, or one of Levi's biggest fans, approaches him wanting to hang out with him because he's got a signed, autographed picture of Levi that said, thanks for supporting me, we have to hang out sometime. And Levi proceeds to say he doesn't remember making that. It must have been his manager who wrote that and sent it to him. And Levi was actually being kind of a jerk to Chaz. So that was interesting. But at the same time, if you're a world-famous musician just trying to be a high school student, I mean, I guess I could see wanting to be left alone, not wanting all that attention. However, I mean, he could have been a little nicer, but you start to find out that Chaz is rather annoying. He shows up several other times, basically, it seems just to annoy Levi. He turns up again wearing a hat just like Levi. He almost down to almost dressing exactly like him. The only difference is like a different shade of blue jeans, black boots instead of brown, and a long sleeve white shirt instead of a short sleeve white shirt. Everything else was pretty much Levi's wardrobe. It was kind of creepy. Chaz takes it upon himself to invite a bunch of his friends and basically tell them that Levi is wants to meet him, wants to hang out with all of them. And again, Levi being a jerk, he's like, I never said that. It's like, we're not friends. Just give me my space. Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm just getting over a cold too, guys, if you haven't noticed. That's probably why I sound a little bit lackluster, a little out of energy, but I'm getting over it. Well, Dreadwolf, the monster, comes back, and instead of attacking what he thinks is Levi, he instead attacks Chaz, because of course they're dressed exactly alike, aside from long sleeve opposed to short sleeve. Again, just because you're wearing a long sleeve, they don't look anything alike. The face is totally different. But of course, supposed to be a stupid monster, not knowing the difference. All humans look alike, I guess. It's prejudice. Anyway, he throws a claw at Chaz, hits him, and it turns Chaz into a werewolf. The Rangers are called, they come, and of course, Levi tells the rest of the Rangers to handle Dreadwolf and the minions while he tries to snap Chaz out of it. What does he do to snap Chaz out of it, you might ask? Well, sing, of course. The power of song, ladies and gentlemen. It seemed to calm him down just long enough for Levi to pull the claw out of Chaz's back, turning him back to normal. Then all of a sudden, Mick calls Levi on his communicator, telling him, the Prism just gave us another vision. Apparently, you can now use the Lionfire armor. Why? Because Levi saving Chaz from being a werewolf was such a selfless act that now he has the ability to use the Lionfire armor? A little suspect, once again, but again, they have to explain all this stuff somehow. Sometimes they don't even explain that much about how they get their powers or how the powers even work. They just, oh, look, I got a new power, let's use it. And automatically you know how to use it and know exactly what to do. Again, there was much more of a process in Super Sentai, I assure you. Much more of an acquiring, learning, and trial and error process for their powers and their abilities. But again, yeah, everything's got to be, instant. He comes, he shows up, saves the day, morphs and uses the Lionfire armor, which, if you ask me, actually kind of looks a little bit better on the Gold Ranger than it does the Red Ranger, but that's probably just me. I thought it looked terrible on the Blue Ranger just because of the whole contrast. You have all this red and gold on top of a lot of bright blue. It just didn't seem. I just didn't like the color combination. But yeah, the whole red and gold on top of more gold was actually quite vibrant. I liked the way it looked. He of course proceeds to defeat the monster, and we have our Zord battle, of course. Nothing new when it comes to the Zord battle. No new Zord or anything. They just form their Megazord and have the final strike, deliver the final blow as usual. At the end of, pretty much toward the end of this episode, after everything is said and done, the monster's defeated. Yeah. Did I mention Victor got turned into a werewolf? I kind of wish he would have stayed a werewolf. Because, yeah, he got hit by one of the werewolf's claws before he had to do his audition for the Double Danger Chili Burger commercial. And, of course, during the commercial, claims he doesn't feel well, and he turns into the werewolf while doing the commercial. And at first, obviously, the director and the the casting agent didn't like what happened and figured, oh, well, this isn't going to work. But at the end of the episode, after Monty, believe it or not, pulls the claw out of Victor's butt, turning him back to normal, the casting agent shows up once again and wants to sign him to a more lucrative contract as long as he did the werewolf skit. Well, obviously, he's not a werewolf anymore, so he can't do the werewolf thing anymore. So she then tears up the contract and walks out all upset. So once again, Victor's aspirations of being famous went down the drain. And just like his appearances in this show is going down the drain, and he is not becoming famous because of it. That's what you get for having a discount Bulk and Skull in your Power Rangers series. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Again, another lackluster episode. Just happened to have a little bit of extra something to it. More than last week. It had more action. Had a little bit more of a message, I guess. Not to be selfish, and once again to be nice, be kind to people. You know, whether you think you should be or not. If they're being kind to you, you should be kind in turn. Read from it what you will, but that's it. I got nothing more to say about it. Just to let you guys know before I end real quick, enough said, in the next couple of weeks, another long string of collector's reviews coming for you guys, because I know a lot of you guys like those, and a couple other big announcements coming up too. Stay tuned, guys. Like I said, channel's still growing. I want it to continue to grow. I want to do this for a living for you guys. So, and I've got lots of opinions and a lot more things to show you and talk about in the future. And I'm going to be starting a Patreon, I've decided. That way, all of you out there who decide to maybe become a Patreon with Rangers Ready Go, know that everything that you do to help support me and this channel will come back to you. Definitely. Anything you do to help support us, it will show in the channel, and it will definitely show when I am able to start being able to give back to all of you. I would like to start doing giveaways and contests. I still have a video coming up. I'm still putting it together to talk about my first giveaway for my 1,000th subscriber here on the channel, where we just hit about 300 subscribers. But I've been doing this already now for about 2.5 to 3 years now, but a little over a year now with this format on this channel, so I really want to keep it going. A lot of people really like it, yeah, that's it. So coming up here soon is going to be my Patreon announcement video, as well as a couple of contests and giveaways and stuff like that, guys. But collector's reviews and more reviews coming soon, so don't worry about that. Plenty of content coming, guys. And until next week, be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you guys haven't already. You all know the deal. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next week. This concludes our broadcast day.